don't have much of an agenda today. I'm just here to be real and talk my shit. So if you're here for that, cool. Hi, I'm Leaky. Welcome to the chaos. Everything feels weird to me, and to be honest, everything is affecting me. So on top of everything going on in our country, in the world, I am also going through yet again another spiritual awakening. And I have been heavily reflecting on my upbringing. I was born and raised in a Christian household, going to church, and now as an adult, being 28 years old and having left the ministry in the church for, let me see, I think it's 6 years now because I was 22. I believe that I have a deeper connection to God, a deeper understanding of Jesus and his ministry, and also a deeper love for people and greater compassion and empathy and ability to be able to connect with my fellow human beings. Growing up, and I will also go so far to say as being groomed within Christianity and in the church that I was raised in and attended in all of those years, it was very, very harmful to my development as a person, very harmful to my self-esteem, very harmful to how I saw and believed the world was. And just one example that I can give to you is sex. One of the most natural parts of life was something that was so heavily controlled and so deeply shamed into me from a very, very young age. Purity culture was designed for men to control women. Literally, that's all it is. I was taught that sex was sacred and holy only within marriage and within a heterosexual marriage. And outside of that, outside of marriage, it's, you know, the biggest sin ever, and you're just so deeply shamed and so unholy. Literally, what is the difference between having sex on your wedding night and having sex the night before? There's no difference. Getting married makes no difference in your sex. The only thing that's different now is you're both legally bind to each other. And I do believe that sex is sacred and it is holy, but I don't believe marriage is what makes it sacred and holy. What makes it sacred and holy is your consent, is your pleasure, is your love for each other, or even like for each other, just like enjoying each other's company and your respect for one another. Men love to police a woman's sexuality. Not only do they fear it, I will go so far to say that they despise women for it. And they will lust after you and then blame you for all of their uncontrollable feelings because they literally cannot control themselves. One of my first acts of rebellion, of going against the ways that I was taught and brought up in church, was with my style, was in the way that I dressed. And I was raised having to be extremely covered up, right? Like super modest and stuff. It was literally illegal to show your shoulders. But through fashion, that was my first way of really being able to express myself. Because growing up, I always knew I was different. I've always tried to be myself, and I've always been pretty confident in everything. But I had a lot of confinement. Most of my life, I had to live in performance and having to be perfect. And when I finally broke free, right, from this show, from these confinements and from all of these rules that came with ministry and leadership and Christianity and stuff, I was like, okay, who do I want to be? Who am I? How do I want to dress? And it was so fun for me to really see who I was based off of what I wanted to wear and how I wanted to dress myself. And at 22, I am now a young woman transitioning into that womanhood. I wanted to also see myself as a sexual being. I wanted to see what I looked like sexy. I wanted to see what I looked like being the hot girl that I am. And then I really got into piercings. But when I was a kid, right? Teenager, I was super into my ear piercings. I had all my ears pierced up and stuff, and that was something I probably would have continued to have, but again, growing up in church and like the leadership, they shamed you for things like that, and I ended up taking them out. But once I left, I was like, okay, let me really have fun with my piercings. And I've had my belly button pierced. I got it pierced 3 times. She is officially retired. Actually, we will see. Maybe I will go for the 4th, but as of now, I have officially retired her. I got my tongue pierced. I got her pierced twice. My nose pierced, and I got my nipples pierced. That one was such a fun one. And all of my piercings were like spontaneous and random, like they just kind of happened. But when, especially like when I got my nipples pierced, it was like, okay, period, she is now a part of like my accessories, right? And I also had my hot girl Hawaii era. So when I did like the nipple piercing, I was like 24, and that's also when I was like decide to go on dating apps and just like go on dates and hook up and have fun, because this is my fucking body and I could do whatever I want. And I really like love the idea of doing whatever I want and making my own choices and my own decisions and having that autonomy over myself and the authority over my own body, because I live in a world where religion, where family structures, and even just like society in general, men in general believe that they have control over my body, where there are different states within the country that I live in that I do not have the rights to my own body. And it truly doesn't matter what you do, what happens to you, no matter what, there's going to be people that want to judge you, and there's going to be people that criticize how you live and try to control you and stuff. So already, if you know no matter what you do, you won't be able to please everybody. No matter what you do, you know that people are going to judge you. Like, you might as well fucking do whatever you want. You might as well just be your fucking self. My very first dating experience traumatized me to the ends of the earth. Till this day, I have nightmares about this man. I literally had a nightmare about him last night that I strangled him not nearly, why am I saying that? But like, basically unalived him. Apologies for that trigger that I did not give warning to. But he was a very, very terrible, terrible man that I just didn't see or understand at the time. And I wish I did. And I was heavily shamed for having feelings for him. I was 19 years old. I was very, very, very impressionable. I had never been alone with a boy before, never been alone with a man before. I was not allowed to be. That was an absolute no-no. And even when we would go like on our dates, like we were not allowed to be doing that. We had to do it in secret. So already just me being able to experience that, like I was in sin, you know? And I'm 19 years old, like months away from turning 20. Like I am transitioning from my teenagehood into, you know, adulthood, into being a young woman. I am having these desires for love, and I'm even having these desires for sex. But I was, again, taught that sex outside of marriage is a sin. And at that time, I hadn't even kissed a boy. Like, I hadn't even held hands with a boy. And he was my first, like, basically everything. And he was very, very affectionate with me. And I love affection, I do. But I wasn't used to that level of affection yet. Like, I was just starting to, I had to learn how to be comfortable literally just being alone with a guy. And he completely pushed over my boundaries, right? Like, he would touch me places I was not comfortable in, make me touch him, and like, you know, it kept like going on and further and further. And why it didn't register and click into me that this was non-consensual was because I had sexual desires for him. I wanted to connect, but I was not ready. I didn't want to yet. And the fact that he disrespected the no, the unsurety, the unready, like, you know, that I wasn't comfortable, that's what made it not consensual. And I kept blaming myself, and I felt so much shame and so much guilt, like I was in all this sin. And then he would go and talk about it to other people, and immediately I was talked bad about. And then I was stripped of my leadership status, and like, you know, I was stripped of everything, and I was publicly shamed and humiliated in my church by, like, you know, literally grown-ass adults, by my leader. I was made out to be this like sinful, slutty slut whore. And the thing that's crazy, like with our relationship, is by the time I was ready to start being like, you know, more physical and intimate with him, like that's when he started switching up. By the time it like genuinely became consensual, something that I wanted, something that I desired, it was like he didn't like me anymore. He lusted after me because I was just like so pure and so innocent, and he loved the idea that he could take from me. And when he was no longer able to take, once it became consensual, once I was liberated in it, once it was a freedom, he didn't like it. And that's why a lot of men will shame women for the way that they dress, for their confidence, for their sexuality, for their liberation in their sexual energy and creativity, because it's something that they cannot be controlling. It's something that they can't be taking from them. They're liberated within their own power, within their own body, and it angers them that women are liberated in it, that women are making a choice to do that versus, you know, them being able to control you. The same men that want to fuck you are the same men that will shame you for fucking them. They will lie to you, they will trick you, manipulate you, I will go so far to say even abuse you, and I wouldn't even say far because it's not a far-fetched thing at all. That literally happened to me. And then once they get what they want, turn around and degrade you and shame you and humiliate you and talk shit about you. So when all those things happened, right, 1920 with that first boyfriend, we never like officially had sex. We did like oral and all that other stuff. But when I was 22, finally decided to like leave the church, leave, you know, ministry and all of that. I did have a friend of benefits, and he's the guy that I decided that I was like gonna have sex with, and he's the one that I lost my virginity to. And before I made that decision, I remember having to come to a place where I had to take my virginity off of the pedestal, and I had to take that whole like, you know, sex is for marriage out of my belief system, because that was the thing that was the root and cause of all of my shame. And why I felt so guilty and why I felt so like horrible was because that was the thought that was instilled in me, was that my sexual desires are impure and unholy, and that I'm not allowed to unless I'm married to a man, and he will then give me the stamp of approval to have sex. I had to tell myself that it was okay, and that, you know, when I am ready to, it's going to be okay because I'm ready. And I'm so glad and grateful that I came to that conclusion. And it still took time. It actually took years to really rewire that part of my brain and understanding to see that my consent is what makes it holy. And that first boyfriend was, you know, always like in and out of my life, right? And I'm doing my best not to like judge myself because I was really young and I did not have the tools to navigate being manipulated by a person that I had a great deal of care for. I also did not even fully understand that he had abused me, was abusing me. And I was living in San Jose and I was doing really well for myself, especially at 22. I had my own apartment, had a decent job, I had a car. I was enjoying my life. I was starting to explore life, and I was going to comedy shows. I was going to like bars and clubs with my friends. And one weekend in particular, I decided to go to San Francisco to go hang out with my best friend. And at that time, he was dating a new guy, so I was gonna meet his new boyfriend. And my ex-boyfriend had lived there, and I had told him that I was gonna be there for the weekend. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, well, I'll be your guys' DD if you need a designated driver. And I was like, okay, period. And I had my own hotel room and stuff, and he had come, right, we were all hanging out. And honestly, like, I did think, well, like, maybe this would be, you know, our time to actually have sex. Now that I have a little bit of experience having sex, like maybe I could. And I thought, well, maybe I could explore that with him. But what ends up happening, it's so random, but in my hotel, they like have this random fire alarm. And so we like weren't able to chill in my room. And we all end up, you know, just like being in the lobby, and they had wine and stuff. And so we're drinking. Again, he's not drinking at all. He doesn't drink the entire night. And we're like, okay, well, let's start going out then. And we're taking tequila shots. I'm drinking hella tequila. Like, I don't even know my limits at this point. I just started going out. I just started drinking, and I am with all grown men who can drink a lot more than me, but I'm just like, you know, having fun with them. So I'm like, I literally basically drank a whole bottle of tequila. Mind you, I'm 5'3.5". I'm not very tall. And we're going to the clubs, and I'm getting free shots, and I'm getting free drinks, and we're dancing. And before I knew it, I was blacked out drunk. I remember little bits and pieces of that night. I remember not even being able to stand up on my own without support of like holding onto a counter or like somebody. I remember at one point, like I was so drunk I needed to go back to my hotel room and he was gonna take me back, but my friend, he wasn't in the club and he was like somewhere with his boyfriend. So my ex-boyfriend was like, okay, I'm gonna go find them to tell them that I'm taking you home. And he had to like prop me. Actually, okay, first this is what happened. First he had to go use the bathroom, and he had like propped me against the bar, and I was literally so drunk. But I remember even in that like quick moment, and the bathroom was right next to where I was sitting, like just where I was, there were men coming up to me trying to like buy me more shots and talk to me. And he got out of the bathroom, got me, and sat me down on one of these lounge couches. Then that's when he went to go look for our other friend. And I'm so fucking drunk, and this other man comes up to me and talks to me and literally like starts giving me a lap dance. I am like completely gone. So then my ex-boyfriend comes, gets me out of that situation, and like has to hold me basically to get me in and out of the car, right? Get me to the hotel room. And he gets me to the hotel room, takes off all of my clothes, takes off just his pants, and rapes me. A man that is completely sober while I am blacked out drunk. And I do remember bits and pieces of this interaction. I remember too, like before like it even started, I told him that I wanted to take a shower, and he was like, no you can't because you're too tired. And I was just like, oh, okay. And after he was done, he had tucked me into bed, and then he left. And I was like sleeping, and like I just remember like waking up a few hours later and not feeling good in every way possible. And at that time, I didn't like really know that I had been raped, as far as like I knew we had sex, but I didn't even know or understand that it was rape. I just knew that it didn't feel right. And you know, over time, like I had to learn that because I was drunk and he was sober, like you cannot give consent when you are drunk. And I carried so much guilt and shame from that, because even knowing that intellectually, I still felt like it was my fault, like I'm the one that made him do it. Because after he had done that to me, he then started talking shit about me, and he literally hated me. And he did make it seem like it was my fault, and he was telling me how like he doesn't like seeing me drunk and all that, like he was disgusted with me because now I'm this like quote unquote party girl. Now I'm not this like holy pure leadership girl that like he fantasizes about being with, even though he's literally like the worst human being on the planet. And one of my old friends had called me one time telling me that I fully needed to cut communication off with him completely if I hadn't already, because he does not talk good about me at all. He actually talks a lot of shit about me. And I guess there was like one instance where like she was in the car with him and like a couple of their other like mutual friends, and he was like saying, oh yeah, like they were talking about like their types, the kind of people they like to date. And he was like, I hate nerds and I hate fat people. Like I hate Angelique. Bitch! Well, I hate short ass motherfuckers with a big ass nose. How about that? But he's in the car literally saying that he hates me. That he hates me because I'm fat, right? And then my friend goes, well, didn't you sleep with her? And his response was, that's only because she was begging for it. He then proceeded to say, it still feels good, so I did it. I gave her the D and then I left her there, and she hasn't heard from me since. This man was in church leadership. They had him as a high school leader. He also, I recently seen that he has a YouTube channel. He posts like Christian-y content, I guess. He hasn't posted in like over a year or so, but he did that to me 5 years ago, January 20th, 2020. So now being 28 and learning about horrible things like femicide, and learning horrible things like, you know, there are chat rooms where there are tens and thousands of men literally on there talking about how much they fantasize hurting women, murdering women, raping women, exchanging videos on them doing such things to women. Now getting to a place where I am digesting that my upbringing in purity culture was ultimately based on the premise for men to control women and control my body and control what I do. It's like, fuck, at what point am I safe? I've decided, it's been almost a year now. August will be a year that I decided to be celibate once again, because that is when I feel the safest. And I'm not doing it because I believe that like I have to be holy or anything. I don't believe that celibacy makes me any more holy than I would be if I were having sex. But I really wonder, is there someone, right? Like if I'm just thinking about like on the spectrum of like dating men and having sex with men, is there somebody that I can meet and be safe with and trust that they will treat me as a decent human being? Because on the mild end, right, if a man is treating me bad, what is it? I'm being lied to, I'm being manipulated, or, you know, even shamed, body shamed, fat shamed, whatever the fuck, possibly cheated on. On the deeper end, right, if being treated bad by a man is violence, I'm being assaulted, I'm being hit, I'm being murdered. It took really until this age, and like it's something that I knew, but it took time to really process and trying to emotionally navigate and mentally navigate, that my first boyfriend, the first man that I truly like loved, that first like romantic connection that I had was with the man that hated me. Like I thought we were crazy in love, but he hated me. Even my last relationship, my last like official boyfriend, the one that I dated in Austin, he hated me. He envied me. And he actually told me it too when I broke up with him. He said, I fucking hate you. I fucking despise you. I never cheated on him. I never treated him bad. I never did anything bad, but he was constantly like manipulating me and draining me. He 1000% cheated on me. I have no evidence, but I just know. And he hated me. So now I come to this conclusion where I wonder, wow, am I ever going to have sex again, at least with a man? I don't know. Am I ever going to be in a relationship again, at least with a man? I don't know. Yes, I'm a lover girl. 1000% I believe in love, and I know that love exists because I exist. But to be so fucking for real, I have never met an actual, genuine, good guy. Someone that is like, you know, truthfully wholesome and good as a legitimate dating prospect. I've never met one. I don't think I've ever even slept with a good guy. And I may have thought they were a good guy at that point, but truly, I don't know. Because there are so many terrible, awful, violent men in this world that we can think a guy is good or even great in comparison, but really he's just mediocre. It's very, very likely that there are men that have taken me on dates and that we have slept together and he hated me and talked shit about me immediately afterwards. So I would love to input my request to God in the universe to please, if I am wrong, show me a great guy. Okay, show me someone that sees me and loves me for exactly who I am, that honors me, that is devoted to me, that will not hurt me. This is something that I really, really want to be proven wrong in. Please, if there are righteous men out there, if there is but even one good man, bring him my way. Until then, I will just have to assume that I need to be on guard, and I will very much not have men a part of my life. And at least straight men at that, because I love my gay men. I'm not saying you all are angels, but I do feel safer, and I appreciate you, and I love you a lot. But alrighty, y'all, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get a vibral acoustic massage, and I love you so much. Thank you for letting me rant and empty myself out and share just how I genuinely feel and be able to share my life experiences with you. I love this platform because I feel like I really can be myself, and I feel so free, and I feel that I can speak without judgment, and you guys have done that for me, and I'm so grateful, and I love you. I love you deeply and endlessly. And do not get it twisted. I'm not scared of these motherfucking men, okay? I got a taser and I'm not afraid to use it. I will be swinging, I will be kicking, I will be screaming, biting, everything I possibly can do. I will not be easy to take down. Okay, but for real, before I go, I do want to leave you with this. But seriously, live your life and do whatever the fuck you want. Okay, gotta go. Love you. Bye.